All right. Okay, we gotta stop this fun with this stupid stuff because we've got other kinds of fun now. We've got George Mienie, who I know, George, your favorite thing on a Friday is to see George, and he's in our studio. He's decided.
Don't tell him, but I'll shake him in a heartbeat. Oh, he's there. Hey, George. So just telling Garreth how interesting your show
So
is.
George, for some reason, is at our studio in Rivonia. George, are you driving a fancy car and you just needed to stretch its legs? What's the story? We can't hear you, George. You're on mute. You need to unmute.
It must be the most said thing in the last 3 years. You're on mute.
I know. Sorry about that.
Anyway, I'm in my iPace here, but I was like reminiscing about coming here, so I thought I'd come see Simpiwe and no one else.
yeah, because there's no one else there, right? Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's very cool. I mean, it's like exactly the way it was. It's almost like when the zombie apocalypse hits, and then you go back to a building, and it's almost like people left in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, George. Now you've depressed me. Now you've depressed everyone that the studio is like a zombie apocalypse. But okay, you're in the studio. So George, it's always good to see you on a Friday because I know when you come on a Friday, it means the weekend is truly starting. And Gord hasn't been able to tell you how much he thinks of you for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. So if you needed an ego boost, we've got that going as well this morning.
Your hair looks especially good today, George. It's always good, but today it's extra good. So muzzle.
It's the studio lights. Lights.
George, do you remember any of those ads and those theme tunes and things?
Yes, I do. And I was thinking of one a second ago before you put me on. Knarsus. Do you remember Knarsus?
Oh, that was a...
No.
Yes, man. It was on Afrikaans TV. You remember, Gord? We used to have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were English kids programs, and on Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah. And the bunny was called...
I don't remember Knarsus, but I mean, I probably...
Knarsus was this crocodile, and he used to change...
No, it was like a dragon. It was like a dragon.
And a dragon, yes.
And it would bounce around on the screen.
No, and he was like the puppet. I remember that.
Yes. I must find you a picture of him because when you see him, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me just find Knarsus the puppet. Here we go. It comes up immediately on Google, so a lot of other people have been looking for it. Okay, I'm going to find you a picture of Knarsus the dragon, and then I'm going to find you a picture of Oscar the rabbit. That's the name.
Oscar the rabbit. That's it. Yes.
There we go.
Oscar.
All right.
Wat 'n tande sal ek nou vat.
There we go. Yes, exactly. That's the one. And I used to talk like this. They always had these really obviously evil voices for the bad characters, and then the good characters had these really nice voices. It was so obvious. Like if only the world was
really like that. Yeah, someone comes up to you and they're like, "Would you like to buy this thing that's cheap and it's effective?" And you'd be like, "No." And in fact, evil people come disguised as really beautiful women in my experience.
Imagine
with three voices that tell you everything you want to hear.
Imagine someone went, "You really need this medicine."
Yeah. "I'd like to finance your car in an unusual way. Would you like to sign up?"
There's Knarsus.
There's Knarsus.
Remember that? I was thinking of a green oak friend who was a crow.
No, man. This one, and he had a whole bunch of teeth that sat on like a washing line, and they would sing songs. Yeah. And there's the rabbit, Oscar.
Yeah, I remember the rabbit.
The music went like da 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 All right, very good. Now I know what's going to happen. Straight after this show, we're all going to go onto YouTube and try and look for these things. All right. So what's happening, Gordo? I mean, George?
Before you go there, do you remember the shark called... he used to have this little saying called Hitjo. We used to watch it at 10 to 7 in the morning before school. It was a shark. He used to chase us. High and something, he used to chase his other fish around in the sea.
Yes. God, what was that called? It was high something.
But
audience, help us with this. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the name. I remembered Knapp's, but I couldn't remember the name of the show.
Look,
Anyway,
Ancient Ether says, can you guys please talk about cars now? So you see, this is people want us to be serious. You're trying to have fun here, but people want us to get straight to the point. They didn't come here for bullshit. They came here to hear what George thinks of cars and what he can tell us.
Okay, right. Well, first story. They have designed a truck, obviously in the United States. They've designed a truck that can simulate seismic activity. So it can simulate an earthquake. So what this truck does, I sent you a picture there, Gareth. What this truck does is it pounds the earth with 27 metric tons of impact at a rate of 30 times per second. And what this truck's designed to, what the system is designed to do, is to measure the capability of the earth in a specific location to withstand the force of an earthquake. There we go.
So it's a truck that can fuck, basically, and it does that to the ground.
A truck that can fuck, exactly. Pounds the earth. Takes the earth to pound town.
This doesn't sound like a bad idea at all, to create something that can smash the earth with thousands of tons of pressure 30 times a second. I mean, just basically frack, like 100 meters under where they're testing this. We've got like fracking happening.
Well, you never know. Maybe they were looking for a fracking zone, and it's just an undercover reason for doing what they're doing.
Where I live, there's certain places you can't build on because there's dolomite, in the ground. And what happens with dolomite is that when you have a lot of rain, some of it dissolves. The actual rock dissolves, and it creates these sinkholes, effectively. So if you brought that pound town truck here, you would cause a lot of trouble. I think a lot of houses would sink into the earth if you started hammering the ground outside their driveways.
Isn't that the case in the West Rand, where all the mines are? There's often sinkholes.
Apparently, Joburg. I mean, I don't know if this is absolutely true, but apparently, Joburg underground, it's like a Swiss cheese. It's like full of tunnels and holes. And basically, if we ever have a really big earthquake here, we're in big shit, because the whole of Joburg will start rattling and rolling, and some of it will fall.
I mean, this is not the earthquake show, but apparently the
earthquake show. George, can you imagine the earthquake show? I mean, there are shows
that.
The earthquake show.
Rumble? It's the
apparently Kuburg Power Station is built on a fault line, I believe.
Oh no! I see Fukushima.
I don't know how true it is.
Oh no! All right, let's just stop right there. Are we going to make people paranoid? Okay, what else?
Then have you ever named your car, nicknamed your car? Apparently, this is quite a thing.
100%.
Every car I've ever had has had a name.
So I looked up names for cars, and people have named their cars Scorcher, Burner, Roadrunner, Gorilla, Bigfoot, Everest.
Metalmobile.
What have you named your car, Gord?
My old black Polo was the Metalmobile.
Mine's always had human names, like Dexter or Doris or Sven. Or
my next one's going to be called Carl.
That's so stupid. I can kill you. All right, what else? Why do people?
And then what?
Why do they? But hang on. Why do they call it? Is it because Everest is so obvious, like the Ford Everest, right? So is that why? Is that like a total lack of imagination? It's like those people who call their child Sion.
I think anybody that calls their car by the name of the car itself is boring, to be honest.
No, I think so.
Call it something better.
Call
it Shadow or something.
So my sister-in-law has an Everest, but we call it the Everest, just to annoy her.
Oh, that's even better. So then leading on from that, why do we refer to our cars and many other things for that matter as a she? And there's actually, I went to go and look this up, and there's actually a reason, and there's a history to why we call things she, particularly cars. And it turns out that it comes from a Latin because English comes from, a little bit of Latin. So the Latin word for ship is a feminine word. And because Latin has gender, many languages have gender, for different things. Right. The Latin word for ship is gender, so that's where the word she for ship came from, and then it extended to everything else, including cars.
But some countries are male and some countries are female, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
cancellation. I'm excited about this.
Well, I mean, so some things are gendered, whether the LGBT community like it or not. But like Russia is male, France is a she, Germany's a he, as I recall. Spain is a she. Like there's some countries that have the country itself.
Do these countries decide this for them? Like back when this was a thing and it needed to be like assigned.
Well, languages have gender, right?
Yeah. So George is right. Like this is where it comes from. But Steve says mother Russia. So maybe not. Maybe Russia's a she. Maybe I got that by the balls. So, or literally not by the balls in this case. All right. What else have we got?
And then there was is a home in Dallas where this guy has let me just send you a link there. This guy has a private collection of cars as an office. So if you have a look at that image, you'll see that he has a private collection of cars as well as it's his home office, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
And it's a Ferrari display there. He's actually themed the entire home office as Tron. So he's got different cars in different places. And this house is going for, with the home office included, for $3.9 million US.
So this guy's
having a home office like
this guy's a major car fan. I mean, we've got people like Jay Leno who've got warehouses full of this, but here's his home office, and he's got cars in these beautiful little. It almost looks like a Star Wars ship, and in each of the rooms he's got cars. It's awesome. Even the backdrops, all like Formula One stuff.
Look,
I mean, that's
I can
real.
think of other ways to spend that money, but I'm not trying to judge this dude. He's obviously got a lot of passion for it, but I think that's ugly as fuck. And I think that the picture of the crashing Formula One, I guarantee you it's low res and it's like than it should be, and it looks like shit up close because no one prints large-scale printing well.
All right. Thanks, Gord, for ruining that one. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, It's cool, though, if you like that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, let me show you another version of this picture because I think, George has found something interesting here. Listen, some people, there's no accounting for taste, right? There's no accounting for taste. What one person thinks
it's subjective,
is Of course, what one person thinks is beautiful, someone else is going to think is really ugly. But take a look
at this. Thank God for that, or I would never, ever have gotten laid in my life.
All right, so here's a different angle on that office. And you know what? If you're into this stuff, I mean, that could be quite cool if you're a real Ferrari fanatic. I mean, so it's like he's got this desk and it's all in red and white, and he's got the big Ferrari badge on the wall. I mean, it's not my scene either. I wouldn't like that. But I think there are people who would.
Cool chandelier.
Yeah.
Like a white chandelier.
I mean, I'm not that much of a dick.
The thing is, George, I didn't even notice the chandelier. I just didn't notice the chandelier.
If you're into that sort of thing, that's it. It's just not me, is what I'm saying. But like, great if you like Ferraris and shit. Amazing.
No, but it just proves, because you're not into that thing, you notice the other things that are around what you're not into. So I'm into cars and Formula One, so I won't notice the chandelier. Whereas you're not into Ferraris
really good
and cars and
though.
stuff. So,
yeah,
it is legit a super cool chandelier.
Steve says it looks cool for a second-hand car dealership on Jules Street. All right. Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy. His $3.9 million home office now gone up in flames.
Right. I'm sure he's going to be crying himself to sleep on a pillow full of money.
Mm. And then very finally, I don't know if you heard, Gareth, the South African government has decided in their infinite wisdom, I mean, I've got an argument for this because I think they just executed it in the wrong way. They are putting up tire import duties by 38%, an additional 38% on tires from China.
Why?
Now we can't figure out whether it's because these tires that are being imported from China are low quality. You know, it's difficult to find the reasons why, but they're putting up import duties at 38%. Now that's going to hurt the consumer who, you know, 1,100 rand tire. That price is definitely going to go up now. So that's the downside. That's like a real proper economic downside, and it just shows you the government does things without, you know, calculating the effects. In my opinion, this is not a bad thing because it does stimulate local manufacture. I mean, we manufacture approximately 11 million tires in South Africa, continental down on the Eastern Cape. We manufacture 11 million tires. 2 million of those tires we export. However, South Africa consumes approximately 15 to 18 million tires a year. So that's how much we use.
Okay.
So there's lots of scope for manufacture.
All right, but there could be an argument then for kind of protecting local industry. And if you put up the tariffs on imported tires, then you protect local industry. I'm always a little bit nervous about this protectionism because why should the consumer be punished? You know, like if the Chinese can make cheaper tires and you don't really care whether it's some kind of fancy brand or whatever, there's an argument for that.
Get money from that duty and give it to stimulate local manufacturing. Does someone in the ANC buy another giant Merc?
Yes,
and not and not an electricity manufacturing plant.
That's what happens. You're spot on. So that's why I'm very much against protectionism as a rule, because I think you're also manipulating the market. And why should the ordinary consumer have to foot the bill because the government thinks they're protecting an industry, but they're just stealing money? And it's another tariff.
Manufacturing stimulus fund, local tire manufacturers who are starting can tap into to get funding for building their factory. The tariff funds that, then cool. But it's just going to buy
living in fantasy. It's just another stealth tax. That's all it is.
So we unpack this in grave detail in the AutoTrader podcast on Monday. So
awesome.
That is a 30-minute show on this particular topic itself.
In other words, we just scratched the surface on a big discussion and a big debate that there's a lot more complex detail around.
Correct.
Spot on. All right, George, lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Friday has truly begun. Gordo, it's awesome to spend some time with you this morning. You were really on good form this morning. All these goddamn jingles are going through my head now. So I'm going to have to, I don't know, do something to I'm going to go and do some.
Quickly, George, I've asked you, do you know the Lombard tires are locally manufactured or imported?
Do you know where the Lombard tires are locally? They must be. I think they're local. Lombard.
I think Lombard tires. I think Lombard tires is just a local retailer, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
I can't go get Lombards. Damn it. Okay, well, George is the right oak to ask. Thanks for
No, don't take my word for it. I don't know the answer, but I know that it's a local retailer.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. Happy day, and have a good weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday.